We're here today in our second edition of a very important topic. We're going to be discussing suicide prevention, creating hope through clinical, spiritual, as well as integrated approaches. Now, as we know, suicide is a very sensitive topic, but it's also a very urgent topic because it touches many lives and it's very important to create that awareness, reduce that social stigma that we have, and therefore offer some solution, both practical as well as hope, to the people who are suffering from some problem related to suicide. All right, but we're blessed today. We are going to be joined by two great speakers. Our first speaker is Ushamati Devi Dasi, alias Usha Gaonkar Mataji. She's a clinical psychologist, art-based therapy practitioner. She has been a practicing devotee for over 25 years. She holds an MA in clinical psychology, and she's trained in the ABT, CBT, as well as the REBT uh, approaches. Now, professionally, Mataji has served Shushruth Hospital. She's served Bhaktivedanta Hospital, Gopal's Garden High School, and currently she consults various schools and academies to establish mental health systems, life skill criteria, and art-based interventions. Spiritually, Ushamati Devi Dasi Mataji offers these wonderful skills in counseling, workshop, the child protective initiatives which are there at ISKCON. So she beautifully blends her psychological expertise along with Krishna consciousness, essentially striving to nurture safe, compassionate, and spiritually uplifting communities. Her vision is to bridge the mental health and bhakti, therefore helping individuals to grow both in emotional resilience as well as in spiritual strength. So, last time, as you know, we touched upon various topics. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to divide this entire podcast into three segments, right? The first segment is where we're going to be taking the clinical perspective, right? In the second segment, we're going to have a very special guest where we're going to be taking the spiritual perspective. And then the third segment, we're going to be integrating both of these and trying to find hope and solutions to this. So, a very warm welcome, Mataji. Thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Wishing all of you a very happy Dashera and a wonderful year ahead. So let's start.
All right. So, let's begin this journey together with open hearts, with this hope that we can contribute something. Now, last time, Mataji, as you know, we discussed, these essential warning signs wherein you mentioned it'll be helplessness, despair. That is what you had essentially mentioned. But to get a little more to understanding, psychologically, what exactly happens in that suicidal thinking? What goes in to the mind of such people? If you can
See,
throw some light on that.
see, basically what happens is that when a person is thinking or contemplating suicide, number one, it essentially does not mean that he or she will do it. Okay,
Right.
there's no guarantee, but the thoughts are there nevertheless. So that means there is some sort of despair in that person, a sadness which has been there for a long time, frustration which has been setting in for a long time, a sense of failure, sense of that I have lost it and I don't think I can go on. Like this is the end for me. It's like it's a tunnel vision for them. Like all they see is the end of the tunnel, and they can't think or see beyond that. So there is no, like they say, na, आगे सिर्फ अंधेरा दिखता है उनको.
Right.
There is nothing which they can see, nothing that they can look forward to.
So these practices that you have, the ABT, CBT, how do these help?
So in CBT, actually it addresses the thought patterns. All right. So thought patterns is like the way you think.
Hmm.
When a suicidal person will normally have a lot of negative thoughts, and he or she will mostly, I would say, have thoughts of committing suicide, thoughts of being,
But
of
what
being
are the initial?
alone,
That is the end.
isolated.
That is sorry for interrupting, but that is the end. But how does it begin?
See, it begins with negative thinking is that, oh, I'm a failure. Oh, I have
Ah,
not done this. Oh, this is not complete. Oh, that has not been, addressed, whatever. So these are the small things that keep on, that start the, thought process. And then over a period of time, because of overthinking, or
Hmm.
kind of mulling over those thoughts for a long period of time, these thoughts either they magnify into something which is
Correct.
so overwhelming for that person that he or she feels that, okay, now this is the end. I don't think I can, function beyond this.
So जैसे वो कहावत है, राई का पहाड़ हो जाता है दिमाग में.
Exactly. So there is a lot
Oh,
of catastrophizing and magnifying.
jeez. Okay, so when does medication become very essential for patients like these?
I think muted. According to in my experience, what, just a minute, huh?
Sure, sure.
So sorry. I'm so sorry. There was someone
Perfect,
come.
Madhu. Yes.
Ah,
So yeah, I was
so
asking medication. When does it really
yeah.
become
So
essential
the
in?
medication, in my experience, when someone comes to me and says that I have, suicidal thoughts,
Hmm.
or I feel like committing suicide, or somebody who has attempted it.
Hmm.
There are cuts, there are bleedings, there are attempts of, having had taken phenyl or overdose, OD on on sleeping pills or something. So there are clear, I would say, clear cut direction or clear cut instances where these have already happened, or there is a plan in place. Somebody is thinking, okay, how may, they come and discuss in therapy. I was thinking that I could do this and I could do that also. So there is contemplation on it. So when there is contemplation, and when they have already tried, or when there is a discussion with any family member, so if a family member is if he's discussing it with a family member also, it requires medication. So then I say that please visit a psychiatrist, because in this condition they are not open to counseling,
Okay.
or they are not stable enough to take counseling, because their thoughts of more there are thoughts more on helplessness and hopelessness. So when
Oh,
you
but
already
then when
when
you
you have,
prescribe them medication,
yeah,
do they not take that medication or what? I mean, I'm just trying to
sometimes they
understand that
do,
case.
sometimes they don't. It depends. Sometimes parents, family members have to, pressurize them. See, there is a lot of stigma on
On
basis
coming to a counselor?
on coming to a counselor, taking psychiatric medications. Then also there is this very strange fear which I'm seeing in people, that अरे इसका side effects क्या होगा? Now let me ask you, if you are a diabetic, okay, if you
Right,
have cholesterol, if you have blood pressure, if you have migraine problems, okay, you have something which is a long-term problem,
right.
take medication from a doctor.
True, we
If you
take, but
get your sugar, like suppose I am a diabetic, if I don't take medications on time, my sugar levels will go high.
true.
Okay, there is, of course, there is the other part where the lifestyle comes into the picture, the diet comes into the picture, exercise comes into the picture. Similarly, for a psychiatric or a mental health patient, okay,
Hmm.
a mental health client, medication is important. Not all, not everyone requires medication. There are people who can just come to therapy, who have just kind of started with some, thoughts. We can make out, that, okay, this is not a very severe case. So, we can make out that, okay, this person can hold on for some time without going into the downward spiral. So when we see the downward spiral is too much, that's when we, recommend a psychiatrist. Now, just like I said, a psychiatrist, diabetes mein medication is also there, and lifestyle management is there.
Correct, correct.
Similarly, in a mental health illness, medication and counseling go hand in hand. Many times it happens that people just take medications, or don't take medication and just come for counseling. That also will not help if it is a very severe and extreme case.
Oh.
So it has to go hand in hand, just like any other, illness. Like if it's an orthopedic illness, we first go to, like suppose I have a fracture, I'll go to a surgeon, I'll get the thing, straightened and, a cast made. So I'll be in cast for 3 weeks, what 4 weeks, depending on the severity. After that, he will ask me, okay, start moving your fingers, start doing
True.
physiotherapy. He's not going to tell you, okay, from day one, okay, now I have put the cast, tomorrow you remove it and start exercising. So he also waits for the bone to settle, for the, for the hand to stabilize.
Mm.
Similarly, even in mental health problem, the doctor prescribes, see, we send them to a psychiatrist for what? To stabilize them to certain level.
Mm.
When they reach that level, their acceptance and application of counseling skills are better and recovery is faster. And this is a tried and tested method which people normally don't follow because they feel that अरे इसका side effects होता है, मुझे नींद आता है. अरे पेन किलर खाली से भी कभी कभी नींद आ जाता है.
Mm.
Sometimes when you take any medication for nerve, that also puts you to sleep. So why are you not thinking on those terms? Why are you only thinking that psychiatric drugs make me feel sleepy? And there is a solution to that also. It's just that they don't go back to the doctor with their problems. If they have some problems, some family members, Are, see, I told you, no, you should stop taking the medication. Just yesterday, I had a client. Yesterday, I had a client in the evening, and he was like in extreme anxiety. And he said that I'm feeling drowsy. I have stopped the medication. I said, did you take consultation with the doctor before stopping? Because if you stop psychiatric
Suddenly.
drugs suddenly, they have worse side effects.
True, 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 true.
So you should be aware of this also. I mean, I'm creating this awareness today that if you stop any psychiatric drugs without the consultation of your psychiatrist on, like, suddenly you're bound to have some other issues. It
I
has
guess
to
that would
be
apply
checked out.
even for other basic stuff like your
Yes, yes.
blood sugar or some other
Everything,
medication. Yeah, it
everything,
would apply.
everything. Unless your sugar normalizes, your doctor is not going to stop prescribing the medication, right?
True, true,
So why
absolutely.
don't people understand that mental health also, the brain functions also in the same way? If the brain
True.
does not get proper rest, obviously it is going to malfunction. It's like
True,
any other
true.
part of your body. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. So, when such patients they come to you, how important do you think is a safety plan, and also what typically does it look like?
okay. Now the safety plan depends from varies from patient to patient. It's not that
True.
every patient will have the same. There are certain aspects of the safety plan which remain the same, like some family support. Keeping invite actually safety plan has to be made along with family members,
True. If
not
you could give
only
us
with
like
plan.
2, 3 examples, case
Okay.
one, case two, it'll really help.
Yeah, like suppose I have a person who has tried to cut, his or her
Body
wrist
part.
or
True.
body part, anywhere,
Yeah.
wrist, thighs, it depends wherever they feel like they
Self
just.
harm, basically. Yes. Okay.
Yes, so self harm is there, but self harm is not necessarily suicidal. Okay, self harm is also sometimes a part of a personality disorder. It is a attention seeking pattern.
Syndrome. Hmm.
Okay, now somebody who really wants, उनका cuts deep रहेगा
Right.
हाथ में. Okay, I genuinely want to harm myself, but I am also scared. So in such situations, we call the family members and we tell them that, okay, we need to keep away things which are harmful.
Harmful.
Blades, scissors, out of reach. Fine. Anything which is vinyl, anything that can be used for, you have to be, some people can be really creative at times.
True.
So sometimes people just take dolo, 3-4 strips साथ में ले लेते हैं.
Oh God.
That also has some effect. It's not
Yeah.
they don't know that it can, doesn't cause death or anything, but still it can cause damage. So we have people who do this. They take a lot of painkillers and then they're sleeping for hours. People think it's a major thing. They have to be taken to the hospital. So all these, so this is first part of the plan. Okay, you keep away all these things. Second, you work on their daily routine. What is it? See, keeping them engaged is important. Any time which is a time of isolation or any time where they are alone, that has to be avoided. A person who is suicidal should not be alone. Family
Alone.
members or somebody should be there all the time with him or her.
But this is where someone has a family. But a lot of times, it is somebody alone in a hostel, working in another city, um, uh, under stress or whatever, so when they are all alone, any which ways, they don't have that support. So if
No,
family
see,
is there, it's
wherever
great.
you may be working in a city, but you do have, colleagues, you do have your roommates, if not anything, you have somebody to lean on. Maybe not a person whom you talk to on a regular basis, but one emergency contact number should be there in everybody's life.
True, true,
If
true.
you don't have that, then I would suggest that you make sure that you have one.
Have one.
In fact, right from childhood, when we are teaching no go tell in school, the first thing we tell them is draw trust tree. So what is a trust tree? Trust tree is somebody whom you trust. It's a
True.
safety plan right from childhood. So if you're not feeling good, if you're feeling uncomfortable, you call that person and you talk. So that has to be taught from childhood. So once it is taught, okay, I have to I just need to call on this person. Or we also give them suicide hotline numbers.
Hmm.
There are many suicide hotline numbers which they can, and they people generally respond. They are trained professionals, so they can help.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hare
So
Krishna
these are
TV, for
some of
example, has one. Yes.
yeah, Hare Krishna Television has one.
Right.
So these are some of the things. Plus, there are many other hotlines you can get online, and these are genuine ones. It's not a scam.
Okay, so if a parent or if a friend, hears something like, I want to die, there's nothing left for me to live, what should their reaction be at that time? What should they do?
So normally, when somebody comes with such, I have seen, Arey, I don't want to live,
Yeah.
things are getting really. So normally, what is the other person's reaction? Sab theek ho jayega. Things will,
Hmm.
sort down. It's okay. It's just a phase of your life. That may be true. But that person, what he requires at that point of time is validation of his feelings. So listening to him or her
Hmm.
is one of the best things that you could do.
So listening, not responding or not replying, just letting the person talk
Yes,
is
yes.
what you're
Just
saying.
acknowledging that person's feelings. Yes, I understand that you're feeling very frustrated. You're
Even if
feeling
the feelings are not the right
negative.
feelings, but you just
Yes,
keep
yes,
hearing.
yes, yes.
Oh,
Validating that person's feeling is very important. If you don't validate, then what happens is that then you're taking that person into denial.
oh.
If you're saying, no, no, things are okay, what you're talking, you're doing so well in life, you have a wonderful wife, you have a beautiful career, you have such a cute child.
So such a thing will not motivate. It will work the other way around, is what you're saying.
Exactly. No, no, it may not
Oh.
work, but he may not feel like talking to anybody. I said, okay, I'm talking to this person. He's not even understanding what I'm trying to tell him. So please, if
So
somebody
basically,
talks,
giving a patient hearing whatever that person wants to just open their heart to.
yes, calmly listen to that person. And after you have heard him out, validate his feelings, understand you're feeling very low, you're feeling sad, depressed. Can I do anything to help you? Is there
Hmm.
anything that I can do to help you? You have come to me, right? So you have some expectation that I will do
Expectations, yeah.
something for you. So
Yeah.
what is it that you expect from me? So this is something which you can always ask. Or you can say that do you think you need to talk to somebody else? Do you feel that we should consult a professional? I can come with you. So these are some of the things that you can tell uh, a person or a family member. You say, do you think that we should go together and talk about this to a family member? So all these things are very, very important. Just to tell him that I am here to support you. I am there as a support. You can reach out to me at any point in time. That is something you have to tell them. Fine. I mean, I understand if he says no, I don't want to talk to anybody
Hmm.
right now. But I just want to, share this with you. So then you have to tell him that okay, I'm fine with this. But anytime you feel uncomfortable, do you promise that you will call me? And do you promise that in next time that you start feeling this, will you
Hmm.
come to a counselor? Because this can't continue for long, and and the person and in fact, the person who has heard this can take guidance of a counselor. He may not be able to assess कि इनका extremity क्या है situation का. He may
Hmm.
not be able to, assess that. But at least by talking to a psychologist or a counselor, he'll understand how to deal with that particular person because each person will have different problems. The feelings and emotions may be the same, but the problems
अभी
are.
भरा क्या है तुमको जी भरा नहीं
अरे भर देता ना मैं
I would ask, can the other,
Can someone just
be
mute?
muted?
Yeah, can everyone else be muted on this
वैसा तो डाल
call, please?
Hare Krishna.
इस सुसाइड के ऊपर है सुसाइड केस के ऊपर
Hare Krishna.
One minute.
Yes, muted, sir.
Yeah, please just have everyone else be muted,
So it is important that, the person, the first most important thing he can do is hear him out patiently, validate the feelings for the time being, and ask him if there is anything he can do to help, like either he can help or he can go with him to a professional too. Because sometimes what happens in the process, now I'll tell you, there are three types of people who help. One is somebody who will be apathetic. He will just turn around and say that, "Arey, what is this nonsense you're talking about? You have so much to live for." So
Hmm.
that person is someone who doesn't understand what he is or she is supposed to do. Second person is somebody who is sympathetic,
Hmm.
who will drown along with him. Oh, I'm so this. He will also start crying. She'll also start crying. So there is no help which is being given. But there's a third kind of person who is empathetic, who will say, okay, I'm listening to you. Okay. And I'm here to help you. But only if you want to help yourself.
True, true.
See, if a
In
man.
fact, I was just gonna ask you that only. So many a times when you try to help, right, you'll end up making some mistake because you may not be able to exactly put yourself in that person's shoes, though you have the right thought. You want to help, but sometimes जैसे बोलते हैं ना लेने का देना हो जाता है because you may land up saying something which rubs the person a wrong way in that at that moment. It's happened to me. That's why I'm saying that, because I was speaking rational, but sometimes rational doesn't work in that situation.
At
But
that
you're trying
time,
to wake up a person. But there's a very thin line of differentiation. Sometimes you need to just shake a person up. Okay, hello, what are you talking about? What are you doing? But at the same time, you have to be very sensitive. So it's very,
a
give
very
some
thin line.
guidelines.
There's a very thin
Yeah,
line.
it's a very thin
So
line.
that's why what I said is that if I am not a professional, okay, I have not handled cases of suicide. I
Right.
should not be giving any rational suggestions to any person who comes to me talking about suicide.
So as a
What I
friend,
should do is, as a friend, what I should do is, as I said, listen to him calmly, okay, acknowledge his feelings, validate his feelings, and ask him to take help. These are
oh,
the things that you can do. All
oh.
right. If you see what happens is, like, suppose I'll give you an
But
example.
sometimes they're very apprehensive, going to someone else, like a counselor. That stigma is still there. Arey, mera dimag kharab hai kya? Why should I go? You're understanding that stigma
Yeah,
is still
I
attached.
understand. I understand. So you have to tell him that you have to ask him what is more important to you, addressing the stigma or addressing the problem.
Problem, yeah.
And who is going to know that you're going to a psychologist if you don't tell them? You tell me this. There are so many people who come and sit outside in Bhaktivedanta hospital. Who knows who's come to visit whom?
Right.
Because there are 10 OPDs over there. Right? Any hospital. So, see, it is our thought process which is stopping us. It is
True,
my,
true, true.
yeah, it is my mindset, no, which is stopping me. It is not the societal this, it is my mindset. I have been taught to think that way, that it is not good to go to a psychiatrist. If you go to a psychiatrist, that means ab tum pagal ho. It is
True,
not
true, true,
necessary. Things are changing now. And I think people should understand this, that
true.
things are changing and people are changing, perspectives are changing, because stress levels, anxiety levels, depression levels, disorder levels have risen to an all-time high today. It's just that we Indians do not want to accept it and do not want to work on it.
So true.
I can
Rightly
see,
said.
I can see when I'm talking to so many people in the congregation, as a psychologist, I'm sorry, it's a professional hazard. I immediately, it comes to my mind, something is wrong with this person. He needs help. She needs help.
That's your award in the devotee community.
Exactly, devotee community. I interact a lot in the devotee community, outside also, but outside people are more open.
Yeah.
In
True, true.
devotee community, unfortunately, it has been, it's like ingrained that this is not good. It is better to. I'm not saying that Ayurveda or homeopathy is not good. It's good when you are at a certain level.
Hmm.
If you have extreme, suppose you're having a heart attack, what will you do?
Correct.
You will go to emergency, right? You will not
Right.
go to an Ayurveda hospital or a homeopathy doctor. At that point in time, what you need is an ICCU.
I was just going to
Similarly,
come to that only,
yes,
that, in any problem, early detection helps. So let's look at it from two aspects. One is from your experience. You can give some case study or some example, real life, where actually early detection has helped. And then take another case where someone came in very late to you. And then what did you do? So that our audience understands better, what early detection and how it can be fixed vis-a-vis. If you go late, then is there an option? Is there no option? And if there is an option, what is the option? And how successful also it has been.
okay.
If you can
So
throw light on these aspects.
there are different kinds of people whom I have, as you said, all three types, mild, medium, moderate, all three have come to me. Mild,
Let's take these
moderate.
three cases. Just for understanding sake, let's
Hmm.
take the three cases.
Yeah,
Mild.
sure.
Yeah, let's
Mild.
start
So
with
in the
mild. Yeah.
mild case, when they come to me in the mild case, it
What are
is
the symptoms again of a mild case?
so the symptoms are the symptoms remain the same. It will not, the symptoms don't change. The intensity of
Intensity.
the
Intensity.
intensity will vary. The
Ah,
degree of intensity will be high. When the person, okay, I'll give you an example. There was this girl, there was this lady who came to the girl, actually 13-year-old girl, 13, yeah, 10
you
standard.
mentioned this last time, and who called from
No,
school,
this is
right?
a different case. She was
Oh, okay.
admitted for
मी आत्ताच आता
panic attack. Sorry, Kanwal,
कटरी
can
गेला
you
काय
please?
Okay. One second. Can I request everyone on this call to please keep
बॉयलर
yourselves
पूजन
on mute? Hare Krishna, a humble request. Can everybody please be on mute?
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
So, she was a school girl, and she had suicidal thoughts. Okay, because she had to give exams, board exams ki tayari kar rahi thi. She was not prepared. She
Hmm.
felt that she would not score. All right, and she fainted in the
Okay.
class. All right, so this is a case where it is now, for a child, it has become severe because she had to be admitted for 3 days. She lost out on her prelims and preparation. So all these things happened. Fine, because now this was a sudden thing. She was feeling anxious, but she had not told her parents. So this was
Acha.
a panic attack. All right. So this is one part. All right. In the second part, a person comes in with a history of trauma and talks to me about it, that I want to address this. I'm having suicidal thoughts. Whenever any trigger happens in my life, any event triggers, um, uh,
Hare Krishna, humble request. Everyone,
who's
please keep
monitoring this?
yourselves on mute.
Excuse me, who's monitoring this? Can you mute everybody, please?
All new participants joining in also, please keep them on mute. Humble request. Thank you.
So, so when this person, this male came in, he had very severe suicidal thoughts because he was about to have a child. His wife was about to deliver, and he was a victim of child sexual abuse. So he felt that, something bad is going to happen. So it is better that I'm not around my child. But we had about 12 sessions, and he was, I think, put on medication for about 3 months, and he felt better. So it started well and it ended well. The sessions, but by the time the child was born, he was in a position to manage, or he had developed coping strategies. Kaise cope karna hai, and then
Right.
once in a way he would just call me. Now, I'm sure now his child must be 4 or 5 years old now. Once in a way he would just call me to have one session, how to deal with the child and all. I would ask him, how are you feeling? He said, I'm fine. So when you address it early, either the medication part can be avoided and you can only stick to therapy, or you can, at that point in time, I can think that, okay, TK, he can start with Ayurveda, or she can start with Ayurveda, something
So you
lighter.
generally recommend that also
Yeah, sometimes I do that. Sometimes
as a
see, there are
complementary thing.
Yeah, complementary, because sometimes when they are, I think small children, I do not recommend direct, psychiatric medications, because then they do feel sleepy, they're not able to focus. But there are other ways to do that. It's not, but in some severe cases, we do. If we see that this person is developing a clinical personality, or some cluster A, cluster B personalities are there. If they're getting into those disorders, and this could potentially be dangerous for that, we put them on medications. We tell the parents that please start medications. They are mild, but they help. See, doctors also are aware today that people are a little, apprehensive or
Of
skeptical
medication,
about
yeah.
taking medications, especially for children. So they
Hmm.
keep very mild. There are very safe medications available in psychiatry now, with a lot of research done. So I personally would recommend that if you are having any problems, and if the doctor is prescribing medications, you should take them, because he is not a fool to prescribe medications.
True, 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 true. All
Second
right.
case, as you said, second case, when they come in with a
Moderate, yeah.
moderate thing, then this was a mild thing. Moderate would be the intensity of the problem would be a little more severe. Okay, and it has reached a stage where, in the first case, it could probably be reversible, because it's a
Hmm.
mild, there are, or mild, like there are initial stages where people come in with, that I'm just having these thoughts.
Yeah.
It's just a small thought which has come, and I feel that I should address it. So they are aware that this has come and I need to address it. Okay. So in this case, it was cured only by therapy. He or she
True.
did not require medication.
Medication, yes.
The second moderate case, we can take the case of that, the person who came in with suicidal thoughts and having the baby, that could be a moderate case. And a severe case is a case of domestic violence which came in to me. That lady came into my room crying, literally crying. And she had cigarette burn marks all over her body. And she said that I don't want to live. I just want to, she was in fact admitted for 3 days in the hospital after she had tried to attempted suicide. And then after that, she came, then we put her on medications first for almost 15-20 days. Then we started therapy. Slowly, it took almost a year or something for her to feel better, start functioning, because they become dysfunctional. Because those are the only thoughts that keep coming.
True.
So this is a severe case. But in her case, what happened was the trauma was so overwhelming, she had not addressed it at the right time. When you don't address any trauma at the right time, then it gets converted into a clinical disorder then. Because depression sets in, anxiety sets in. See, when you take medications, you will start feeling normal. You will start feeling better. With therapy also, you will start feeling better. But there is no guarantee that it will not relapse.
So in this case, it was at least a lady who was older who had this thing. But many a times we've seen there are children who
Huh.
have had some experiences in their childhood where they possibly couldn't have done anything,
Yes.
which has affected them so much that as they grow up, they grow up with those unpleasant thoughts literally, bothering them, horrifying them, and then somewhere, it affects their personality and then could lead to this kind of thoughts.
See, what happens as a child, you don't realize that you need help.
Yes.
But as you move into the teenage years, you don't want to seek help because it is this of reputation.
Right.
But as you grow older, when you become 25, 30, that time you start realizing. I told you the case of this man who was going to have a baby.
Mm.
It was a childhood trauma
Yeah.
which had troubled him so much, to a certain, and there were not only that, there were so many multiple factors in the family which were very, very traumatic. That was a very, very serious case actually. And I'm probably making very light, but there were many factors which if I had faced all these things, probably even I would have contemplated, because it was a very, 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 I would say, क्या बोलते हैं, dark life that he led, So in such cases, but as he grew up, he realized that yes, I need help. I need to
So
go to
because,
somebody for,
Mataji, because you have a perfect blend
Mm.
of clinical and the spiritual side you give. So typically in such cases, when they come, what do you also tell them along with the medication to be done and all from a spiritual perspective? What kind of guidance do you at your level give them?
See, not all who come to me are devotees, all right?
Right,
So
absolutely.
I always tell them that say a gratitude prayer, because today you are alive, you have two limbs, you have four limbs, you have two eyes, you have all organs of the body which are functioning perfectly. So at least look at the things that you should be grateful for.
Mm,
So when I say that, that is when they actually start thinking that yes, I do have certain things in my life which are good, which are positive, which are moving in the right direction. So that gratitude prayer is something which I add for all my clients, whoever it may be. Like, be grateful to your Allah, your Jesus Christ, your Mahavir Jain, whoever, whoever is the higher authority or higher power in your life. There is a power which is managing all of us, right?
absolutely,
Being
absolutely.
grateful to that power, whether you're grateful to sun, moon, stars, rain, jo bhi hai, but accepting that there is a power over me which does have some say in all this.
Right.
So accept, being grateful to that power for whatever you have today. So when you're grateful for what you have received and contented with what you have received, then the feeling of not having something does not come in. When you are discontent, when you are contented and feeling satisfied, then the thoughts of the suicidal thoughts will not be there, no?
Right.
Very simple. This, see, it's, but maybe it's very simple for me to say it, but when the person comes in, his mind is so cluttered. So first thing that we need to do is bring a structure to the thought process. So we
Yeah.
do that,
How do you do that? I mean, just
it's known as cognitive
some,
restructuring.
how do you typically do that? Somebody who's coming to you at that point of time is completely perplexed, completely lost, doesn't know what to do. To even instruct that person, he needs to process it rightly,
Right.
right? So that communication must be difficult.
See what happens when they come in, na? The first thing we do is take a complete case history. All right.
Mhm.
So when we take the complete case history, we know childhood, social life, family life, working life, everything is taken into consideration. So
Right.
when we address all the aspects, what happens is we know that's where things have gone wrong.
Hmm.
After that, if required, we take a psychological assessment. All right. A psychological assessment gives direction to the client and to the therapist also. If it is necessary, in mild cases, we don't do that. But in moderate and severe cases, normally I kind of ask them to get that done,
Hmm.
because I come to know what are this person. See, he or she may have been a certain person for the last 30-35 years.
Hmm.
But why am I like this? He also doesn't know. I also don't know, because I've just met that person, right? So when you do a personality inventory, you come to know very clearly, oh, this person is, you get scores in numbers. So there are certain traits like, there are traits like avoidant, dependent, narcissist, histrionic, turbulent. So all these schizoid, तो ये सारी चीजें आते हैं, तो जिसमें elevated score है, we know, okay, I need to focus on these things. These are
Hmm.
the things which are actually making him, dysfunctional, or bringing their obstacles to his relationships, obstacles to his work life, obstacles to multiple things that he is doing. So when
Right.
you come to know, when I have clarity, it's like a blood test report. It's your brain report.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
your personality, your process, your thought process का report है कि ठीक है, okay, depression is at this level, anxiety is this level. Okay, do I have bipolar? Do I have schizophrenia? Am I alcoholic? To what extent? I don't know that. If I'm an introvert, if I'm histrionic by nature,
Hmm.
how histrionic am I? How turbulent am I? Turbulent means how much I'm impacting the lives of other people around me. I am very energetic, but I also expect others to be energetic around me. That doesn't work in real life, right?
Yeah. The real life situation is
Your
different.
energy level is 80, other person's energy level may be 40. So ये सारी चीजें हमको communicate करने के लिए this assessment is done. After that, for clarity, we ask, at least I ask them to set goals for therapy. Why have you come here?
Ah,
Okay. You surely have not come here thinking that, okay, this ma'am is going to give me solution for not committing suicide. You want
mm,
help in certain areas of your life. So I want you to think which are those areas. But for them to be able to think, that is what I'm saying. They need to be in a stable mindset. And that
yeah,
is why
exactly.
medications are required.
Because many a times people would be coming, they would just be crying.
Yeah.
That's also possible. So, sometimes they'll be coming with a different mind frame where they've actually harmed themselves. So it's actually very difficult, to even to communicate something to them and make them understand.
At that point, you have to just remain calm, let them cry, let them come to their normal self. Because what happens in psychology, na, it's very
Mm,
important. There are two things. There is a physical symptom, there is a internal and external symptoms. Rehte hain. External is what, suppose when you have a panic attack, what are
right.
the external symptoms? Somebody will be
Sweating.
crying, sweating रहेगा,
Yeah.
suffocation हो जाएगा, choking feeling रहेगा, chest feels very heavy, you may
Yes.
feel
Mouth goes
dizzy,
dry. All of
you may
that.
go,
Yeah.
sometimes you fall unconscious, your mouth goes dry, hands and feet start trembling, or
Yes.
they become cold and clammy. So these are all external symptoms. So first I have to address those. जब हमको चोट लगती है, हम लोग बलम मलम इधर लगाते हैं ना ऊपर,
बराबर है, बराबर.
dig
Right.
inside and we go inside. No, we just put it on the surface.
Hmm.
So I need to address the external symptoms first. जब वो काम हो जाएंगे, then I start working on the internal stuff.
Hmm.
Without working on the external symptoms, I can't go and work on the internal symptoms.
True.
Right?
So now, last time, there were a host of questions which came to us, which we
Yeah,
couldn't take because of lack of time.
sure.
So some of these questions were very important. Why? Because this is what leads to that stage of suicide. For example, there was one devotee who had put in a question that when you're at a workplace, you're depending and dealing with non-Vaishnavas, right? Who basically take you for granted, sometimes even criticize you, and then you're surrounded by office politics, all of that, which leads to stress
Hmm.
because you're of a different breed now, upbringing, thought process, but you're working with people who are absolutely in contrast, but you still have to work with them. Somewhere, that gap between expectation and reality leads to frustration. And if that frustration builds up so much, if you can't change the job, if you have to be there, then those thoughts come in. So, what should such a person, or how should a person like this, who is maybe a devotee, practicing a devotional service or into spiritual life, but is in an environment which is absolutely the opposite, tamas and rajas, you can say. How do you manage that stress?
Prabhuji, I was in working for 22 years before
Hmm.
I became a psychologist at the age of probably say 10, 20 years, 15 years ago. So I was working for almost 20 years as a headhunter. Headhunter
Okay.
means somebody who is
Places, placement.
recruiting, and I used to work on senior search
Cleanup. Yeah.
assignment. So that would be senior levels like general manager and above.
And above.
So
Perfect.
I have dealt with people who come from that, that corporate level. I worked with, uh, even the search firms also had, MBAs, and so it was there. The culture was there of drinking, of smoking, of, eating non-veg whenever we would go out for any parties. I understand what it is. But I personally feel that if you have your principles clearly set, that I am not going to do this, irrespective of who's around me.
Hmm.
You know, it doesn't matter to me. See, a person cannot
Oh,
remove you.
not being participative in that is one. Building
Yes,
your protection shield is another. Fine, accepted. The
true.
thing is, when you have to deal with them on an office level, yeah, I'm not talking about a party scene, which is after office.
Even office level.
In the
Exactly.
office,
So,
when you have to deal with that politics, and
see, I'll tell you one thing. There is no difference between I'll tell you one thing, that there is no difference between one organization to the other organization. Okay. Let's for example take Bhaktivedanta Hospital.
mm,
Bhaktivedanta Hospital is a huge institute. All right. Now, and if you take another organization, let's take Asian Heart Institute. All right. Probably it's not the right comparison. Walcott Hospital. Now, if I look at the work culture in both these hospitals, it's definitely going to be different. All right.
right, culture is
So
different.
this
Yeah, the
is
main thing is culture.
Yeah, so the spiritual, this is there, and here the spiritual, this is not that. But when you look at the people who are working there, all right, Bhaktivedanta Hospital has devotees and non-devotees,
Right.
whereas Wockhardt Hospital may also have some devotees. We don't know because devotees work everywhere. All right. So what happens is that we have to understand that I am working for an organization where there are human beings. And where
Mm.
there are human beings, there will be stress, there will be friction, there
True.
will be politics, irrespective of what the institute is.
Mm.
Because human beings are human beings.
Yeah.
They are not going to change. A devotee from Bhaktivedanta Hospital, devotee employee, may not be political, but a non-devotee who's working there may be a political person. So similarly, in a hospital where, or in a workout hospital, there may be a person who is, who is the political person, and you have, see, wherever you are, you have to deal with these people. See, politics is everywhere, Prabhuji. I mean, let's accept it. Wherever you go.
Mm.
So you cannot escape a political culture anywhere. So you have to learn to deal, you have to learn to take a stand for yourself. Number one. All right. Like yesterday, as I told you, yesterday, this man had come in. He has a problem at work. He was at a very good position. His boss brought in somebody else. Now that other person is above him. He's been given all
Recording stopped.
news and projects, which does, and his job profile has changed. It's very boring. He was into brand management, and now he's doing just desk work, desk admin work. So what options does he have right now? I told him, see, either you learn to accept, he can't move out because financial security nahi hai.
Right.
I said, when you don't have a choice, sit down, accept what is happening to you right now. Because you cannot change the situation, but you can change your perspective towards the situation. Okay, my situation is like this right now. I accept it. I am working on changing the situation. Yes, there will be obstacles. There have been, because he's trying to search for a job for the past 6 months. Nahi ho raha hai. Jobs are not so easily available in the market.
This is a non-devotee, right? You said who's not in the.
Non-devotee, it's a non-devotee. And devotees के भी होते हैं ऐसे problem, Prabhuji. क्यों नहीं होते?
Hmm. In fact, last time एक ऐसा ही question था devotee का, it was if a new devotee who comes, saying that I want to end my life, but I want to end my life remembering Krishna, surrounding myself with Krishna, chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and in this way I will end my life. How would you, tell someone like this? This is one of
So
the questions which
again,
came last time.
that's what I'm saying, Prabhuji. Even here, when you validate this person's feeling, see, normally what happens now, we feel that when somebody comes and tells us that I want to end my life, we like, Arey baap re, tu kya baat kar raha hai? You are a devotee. How can you talk like this? You become a ghost. Remember
No,
last
but he's
time
saying he's saying in the environment, remembering Krishna, hearing the.
however
Yeah.
you go, because your death is something which is not natural.
Yeah.
Right? So if you know the scriptures, just because you're going to hang yourself taking Krishna's name doesn't mean your death becomes natural.
So
It
how
is
do you
an
counsel such a
unlike.
person? How do you explain to such a person?
So first thing is that, as I told you, the beginning of everything is giving a good
Patient hearing.
listening to this person,
True.
calm him down. See, uska distress level come karo.
Hmm.
When the distress level reduces, then we are in a better position to rationalize with that person.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then we can ask, okay, क्यों करना है?
Right.
क्या problem है? How can I help you? Because unless and until he does not feel that, okay, I am being heard. Who's the person? Stephen Covey.
Hmm.
Understand others before,
Correct.
what is that? Understand others before you want them to understand you. I think, I mean, it's in some other way. I can't
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
now, right now. But that understanding others has to come before, or he has to feel that I am understood. That is when he will actually start responding positively. Even if your acknowledgement is superficial, yeah, I understand, yeah, हाँ, होता है, that's not going to work. It has to
So
be
yes,
a genuine connection.
that patient
Yes,
hearing is so very important in whatever we've interacted so far. I'm just getting that understanding, and I think all our listeners should really understand that hearing it out patiently, without being judgmental,
absolutely.
without really wanting to give in your suggestion, give in your views, just here. That's true. That's very true. Uh,
Yes.
One more question, Mataji, I would like to get into is there was this person who had asked last time that if there is someone who's in the addiction of gambling, online addiction, gambling. Now, obviously, that person is losing money, right? And when you lose money, you get into debt, and a debt is again a perfect trap for suicide. So, how can you help someone who's under that addiction of, say, online gambling? And we know sooner or later it is going to lead to a suicide. How can you help such a person free from that addiction? So it'll probably be like, catch it at a milder stage, not let it go to the extreme stage. How can such a person be helped?
So again, depends on the stage he or she is in, Prabhuji. I have had people coming to me, debt है 20 लाख,
Hmm.
गैम्बलिंग चालू है, ड्रिंकिंग चालू है, everything that is not required in life, you know. So let me introduce the concept of backflower remedy here. Now,
Sorry, what is it called?
backflour remedy. Okay.
Backflower. Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Please
BACH.
expand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a backflower remedy is something which is made out of the essence of flowers. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, in many such cases, I have seen when I have given a specific. I'm not promoting this. I'm not an expert at de-addiction. Please, it's not that. It's just that probably for that person it worked, but unfortunately, he stopped taking that medication because he did not feel like drinking after taking that medication. उसका ड्रिंकिंग कम हो गया.
तो ये
So
क्या
he
था?
said,
What is this backflower? ये है क्या चीज?
ये रेमेडी मैंने वही बोला ना, इट इज मेड आउट ऑफ द एसेंस ऑफ फ्लावर्स. तो ये
अच्छा.
एक मिक्सचर रहता है जो हम बनाते हैं, विच वी हैव लर्नड हाउ टू मेक. एंड आई
This is
गेव.
particularly for alcohol addiction?
No, it is not for alcohol addiction. It is something. See, what happens is that हमारे उसमें ऐसी कुछ चीजें होती है वो रेमेडी में. देयर आर सर्टेन रेमेडीज which actually cut you off from certain desires आपका जो रहता है वो कम कर देता है. तो I don't get into the technical this. It's not right for me to talk about it
Hmm.
on, so it's these are combination of remedies that we make, which makes the person feel not feel like drinking after that. So
Wow.
his daughter came to me and said that, ma'am, he has stopped taking because he doesn't feel like drinking. I said, that's good. So she said, no, he doesn't want to stop drinking. That's not why he came to you. He came to you because he wanted to um, recover from his debts. I said, if he wants to recover from his debts, he will have to first take the step towards stopping things that are, taking him towards that debt process, right?
Right.
So that was a case which went in a very different way. I mean, I was surprised, कि ऐसा मतलब if a person is stopping alcohol, it's good for him or her, जो भी है. But see, when the person doesn't want to do it himself or herself, you don't want to help yourself, then it's a very sad case then there.
So if someone is in, say, that was one was alcohol. So some, like, these are the newer addictions, these online gambling and with the phone and all of this, it's an addiction. So any suggestions for this? How can, if not clinical, any other suggestions that you typically have, that how can a family or friend again help someone, and how do you know if that person has actually got free from that addiction?
So that's what I'm saying, na,
Because
Prabhuji.
all these things are
As
done
I
on the hide. They are khul ke hota nahi hai na ye.
See,
They are all
I
done
will
on the hide.
again, say that this has happened personally with me in my family. I think I shared it last time also. My own elder brother was an alcoholic. All right. We sent him for de-addiction, I think at least 3 times. in the span of 20 years, 25 years. And all the 3 times he went back to alcohol. It's not that he did not have the opportunity of a good job. He was an automobile engineer. So he could have really made a very good. He worked for worked for General Motors, he worked for Sai Services, you name it, and he was there. But he could not keep the consistency at work because he was too addicted to alcohol, did not want to leave it on his own. See, here again I say, unless and until you are motivated, you want to help yourself, nobody can help you.
So as they say, God also helps those who help themselves. So if you
Exactly.
don't
So
want to,
जब तक
nobody
तुम
can.
खुद अपनी मदद नहीं करना चाहते हो, कोई भी, even God is saying ना that I cannot help you till you want to help yourself. So God has given you that free
Will to
will
choose.
to choose. So you are choosing the wrong path. Krishna is not responsible for that. After that, you cannot blame God that, Arey, Krishna, what is this good? What, oh my God, you have taken away everything from me. He has not taken away everything from you. You have given it away. He is
True,
not
true.
responsible for you becoming an alcoholic or an addict. You chose that path. And you are the one who is going to choose the path to come back on the right track. Right?
Right.
Not,
Absolutely
it
right.
is your
Absolutely right.
choice. It is not. So unless
Absolutely
and
right.
until, again, that's why I said, Prabhuji, when you brought this topic, I wanted to explain, because a counselor is not a de-addiction center.
Yeah.
He or she is not God who will change your destiny, from alcoholic to non-alcoholic in 2 days, debt to no debt in 1 month. No, we don't have the magic wand. Unless
Correct.
and
Correct.
until you genuinely want to help yourself, you want to put in that efforts, you want to take the right path, take the right decision, you have the willpower, the consistency, the persistence, the determination. Till that time, even I can't help you. Sorry.
True.
And I
Well,
tell this very clearly. I don't hesitate, because it's okay. Normally, I don't take cases of addiction because that's very too close to my heart. It may become biased. So I normally don't take cases of addiction. At least after 2017, I haven't. So that is something which I am very clear about, because it's a personal
correct.
choice.
Correct. 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 Okay. Coming to one more question.
Mm.
Last time I think it came in from a person who was pretty young. She was asking, how can a child handle the situation when the parents are only negative? If you're
Oh,
coming, if you're being brought up in that environment, for a child, the only child, to come up, it is difficult. So that's what her question was.
good question. Sorry.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, does anyone want to say anything?
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, please put them in the chat box. We'll try to address them at the end. We
Yeah.
also have one more wonderful speaker joining in. We're just waiting for him to join in. Any questions, please put it in the chat box. Thank you. We'll continue with this. Yes.
Yeah. So, sorry, I lost track because there was
I was asking
a
about
child. Yeah, a child
the
who is
child.
brought
Yeah,
up in
who
a
says
negative
if I have negative
environment.
parents. Yes.
Yeah. So, here I can say that I cannot choose who my parents are.
Yeah.
Right? Whoever my parents are, that child. See, over a period of time, initially frustration will set in definitely, but over a period of time, that child learns to accept it. "Okay, these are my parents. I can't do anything about them." See, the more you fight, the more frustrated you'll become. So one thing, I don't know how young this child is. If
So
the
the
child,
age is not mentioned, but it just came in.
but
Yeah.
if the child is too young, see, you cannot counsel. You can try to talk to the parents if they are willing to, accommodate or willing to make some changes. So that is something, because counseling the child at a very young age doesn't make sense, because they are, you cannot tell them that na ke अरे तुम्हारे parents ऐसे ही है तो चलेगा. You have to learn to accept them. The child is not ready to accept that fact at tender age of say 10 or something. Yeah, by the time they reach their teens,
Right. For teens, I
12,
think it
yeah,
makes sense. Yeah.
up to 10, yeah. So after 10 they become little more, they understand that okay, this is what it is. I don't think I can change anything right now. In fact, I have children, I have you know friends of my daughter who are living with such parents. who feel that they say that okay, we can't do anything right now, but when we start earning, we'll see what we need to do about it.
Right, right.
Okay,
All
so
right.
yeah,
So, Mataji, now we can come
yes,
to our second phase wherein, we look at the spiritual angle. Thank you so much, Mataji, for your wonderful thoughts that you shared from a clinical perspective. We're very grateful and thankful to be joined now by His Grace, Chaitanya Charan Das Prabhuji. Welcome. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining in. Prabhuji is a globally respected spiritual author, speaker, and a coach. He's dedicated to guiding individuals and organizations for alignment, clarity, and inner purpose of life. Prabhuji has authored over 20 books, essentially on spirituality, leadership, practical wisdom. Some of these books are like Science and Spirituality, 10 Leadership Sutras from the Bhagavad Gita. Prabhuji essentially draws very deeply from the Vedic tradition and addresses contemporary challenges. He's a prolific writer. He's authored thousands and thousands of articles, over 1900 only on the Bhagavad Gita. And all of these throw wonderful insights into personal growth, mindfulness, stress management, decision making. Prabhuji's outreach is international. He has spoken at top universities, be it Princeton, Yale, Cambridge, top universities, top companies, sorry, corporations like Microsoft, Intel, essentially, offering programs how to manage workplace stress, leadership values, balancing life in that high pressure environment. That is what Prabhuji is. We're very blessed. So let us welcome him and let us try to understand now from him as to how possibly we can get the spiritual understanding. See, because spiritually also, it's very important for a lot of people. See, suicide is not just a medical or a psychological issue. It deeply touches our sense of meaning, purpose. And it is here that the spiritual traditions give immense stress in the dark times. So let's take Prabhuji's perspective on this. Right, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Your screen was frozen. So if you can just say, Prabhuji's screen was
Can you hear
frozen.
me now?
So
Can you hear me now?
yes, we can hear you now, but we can't see you. So my humble request
Hare
is,
Krishna.
yes. Prabhuji, your camera, I still can't see you.
Hare Krishna.
We can hear you, we can't see you. Yes, now we can see you too.
So it seems that even when you were speaking, the net was going off. So I'm wondering whether net is problem on my side or your side.
Could be at your end, Prabhuji,
Your
because
video is
we've
frozen
been
now.
on this
Can you
discussion for about an hour now.
maybe just can you continue discussing with Mataji for 5 minutes?
he is not able to. His video is frozen. I think
Yeah,
his
yeah. So I
network is
think
bad.
there's some issue related to the net only.
He said you continue talking for 5 minutes. I'll.
Yeah,
Yeah. So there is a question, Prabhuji, in chat.
yeah. You
I
can take
just
that,
read
Madhi.
out. Yeah. Can you throw light on eating disorders and trauma and how to use spirituality and food and psychology to help sending the, okay. So I think we can take this because it's an integrated question. So we should be taking this later. But I would
You
again,
can,
is eating disorders is something which can definitely lead to suicidal thoughts because
oh my
it
God. So this is an important thing. If you can just pay some
yeah.
eating disorder.
Yeah, eating disorder. There are two types of eating disorders that I am aware of. One is bulimia and one is anorexia. One disorder, you eat too much, okay, and there's a lot of overeating. All right, and then the person puts on weight and becomes depressed. Okay, अभी मेरे जिंदगी में कुछ बचा नहीं है. So what you're doing is filling a void by
Hmm.
eating. So this is known as emotional eating.
Oh, yeah.
Many times people do this. I've seen this after office hours when people come home, na?
Hmm.
That is when they start doing this activity. Because the stress is out, the whole day stress is over and they're
And the
feeling
craving,
relaxed. Yeah, and then the emotional craving is there for, "Arey, kuch to, I'm feeling nice now. I need to," or you
So
need to,
that sugar rush probably
yes,
just
that,
settles you
yeah,
down, or
it could be sugar, it could be anything, any chatpata, anything.
Hmm.
So it happens normally. So
Okay, so it could be any
basically,
kind of food. It's not a
it,
particular kind of food
yeah,
that you're
yeah,
referring
yeah,
to
it
over
can
here.
be any kind of food which satisfies that person.
Ah, okay.
Okay, like for me, if I eat a pani puri, I may feel, better after, a very stressful day. Chalo,
But
let's go.
how do you understand whether it's a disorder or whether it's aaj man karaya thoda chatpata khane ko? How do you
It,
understand that?
it starts impacting your health, na? It becomes a habit then. You want to
Ah,
order for a burger every day then. You want to eat Frankie every day. You want to eat
right.
noodles every day. You want to eat pani puri every day. You want to have a cake every day. And I've seen this every day for months together. And then they reach a weight which is, then they say, "Arey, I don't feel like exercising." Obviously, because depression has set in.
And this is so subtle. ये तो मालूम ही नहीं पड़ेगा.
Yeah, just yesterday I was watching an Instagram reel of a very very famous celebrity from the film industry, and he was saying that just realized that so many years I've been trying to filling the void by shopping.
Hmm.
I buy all things, all and sundry, which I don't need, but I'm just trying to fill that loneliness. I'm just trying to fill that void by buying all these things. But at the end of the day, I'm still lonely.
Yeah. So
So
it could be, yeah,
loneliness,
it could be
yes,
shopping, it could be eating,
anything,
it could be anything like that.
any
Oh.
addiction.
And then that just kind of builds on and then it spirals and could lead to something as dangerous as suicide.
See, most of these addictions lead to isolation, because then you don't want to, like, suppose you put on weight, you don't want to interact because people ask, "Arey, itna mota ho gaya, itni moti ho gaya, kya ho gaya?" You're on social media all the time. You're waiting for likes, you're waiting for your acceptance. That doesn't happen, you isolate yourself. All right. Similarly, the third one, when I said, okay, you go for shopping, you try and you fill your wardrobe with a lot of things, but still you're lonely, still you're alone. Still the thoughts are there, "Are, I'm lonely, I don't have anybody. I don't have anything to look forward to." See, that is what is actually triggering this whole thing. I don't have anything to look forward to. Today
Right.
morning, if I wake up, I know I have to chant my rounds, simple things. I know I have to do my morning, whatever, aarti. I have
Whatever
to do
routine, yeah,
my,
yeah, whatever.
yeah. So that routine is only not there.
Right, right.
Starting from waking up and doing your routine till the end of the day, it's a question mark.
यहाँ पे चल रहे हैं
Mm.
All right.
True,
So
true,
this
true.
is what happens. Over a period of time, that loneliness sets in, shadow thoughts come.
True, 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 true.
All right.
Okay, yes. So
Yeah, I
Prabhuji,
think
can
Prabhuji
you,
is ready.
is your net and all set right now? Can we connect?
Yes, I think it should be better.
Yes,
Let
it's
us.
much better now. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
So,
So Prabhuji, I'll straight away start with the first question that I had in mind for you. That how does your tradition view life, suffering, and the soul in relation to this topic of today, which is suicide?
see, the Gita can be seen both as a pessimistic book and an optimistic book. So at one level, the Gita says the world is Dukhalaya. Now we could say that that indicates pessimism. But if you look at the overall flow of the Gita, we start with Arjuna in tears.
Yes.
And then that's Tamdatha Krupaya Vishnu Vishnu Purna Kuleksham. And then Krishna is speaking to him. And toward the middle of the Gita, 8.15, he says this world is Dukhalaya. But then he moves forward, and by the end of the Gita, what happens after Krishna's message is completed? Arjuna says, Nashto mohas mati labda, sitosmi gata sandeha. I have become calm, I have become composed. So it's interesting, a message that says this world is a place of distress frees Arjuna from distress. So how is that happening? So the point is that at one level, the Gita's tone is that this world is not a comfortable place. But in that same verse, where it's a Dukkhalaya, it's almost like a passing point. Krishna is not elaborating it. It's 1/4 of a verse.
Right.
Dukkhalaya Shashvatam. It's like that is not even an issue to be discussed or debated. We all agree with it, and that's why a passing reference to it. So the idea is that it's something like the Himalayas. If you go to the Himalayas, you're going to feel cold.
Hmm.
Now, if somebody is going to feel cold and they go to the Himalayas, everybody feels cold. But if somebody keeps complaining, I'm cold, I'm cold, I'm cold, I'm cold, people will say, what you're saying is so old, so old, so old. Why are you there in the Himalayas? If
Right.
somebody says, I go to the Himalayas and I want to avoid cold, well, then you're in the wrong place. Now, is cold there in the Himalayas? Of course, it is there. But along with the cold, there is so much more there. There is natural beauty, there's the majestic sights to see, there's the flora and fauna. If somebody is an adventurer, you can go on treks. Somebody is a spiritual seeker, you can go to holy places. So there is so much more over there in the Himalayas, but all that a person can experience only once they come to peace with the fact that it's going to be cold.
True, true, true.
So similarly, in life, there is a lot more to experience, but we have to understand that there's going to be distress. So if somebody goes to the Himalayas thinking I want to avoid cold, and they'll be the most frustrated over it. Like that, if we go into life thinking that I want to avoid distress, then our life, every small thing will become a huge distress for us.
Absolutely.
So what the Gita does is, it tells Arjuna that you are thinking you don't want to fight Bhishma and Drona, that is distressful. But not fighting against them will also cause another distress. It will be a bigger distress also. So the idea is, don't try to avoid pain, try to find a purpose that makes the pain bearable.
Right.
So Krishna gives Arjuna a bigger vision. You're not just fighting to take revenge against them. You're not just fighting to gain a kingdom. You are fighting as a part of my plan to bring dharma into the world, to offer bhakti to people, to help everyone flourish materially and spiritually. So I don't want to go too much into the philosophy of the Gita, but the point is that the Gita is pessimistic in the sense that distress is to some extent unavoidable. But that does not mean we have to forever live in distress. What it means is each one of us has to find a purpose for our life that makes distress bearable.
Bearable, right.
So, actually speaking, if we consider, just 2 more points quickly I make. The soul is Sat Chit Ananda. Now,
True.
Ananda is the third characteristic. So that means Sat is we are existent. So all living beings, we want to exist. Now, Chit is conscious. Conscious means we, with our consciousness, want to make sense of things. We want our life to be meaningful. And then after that is Ananda. So we say that we are pleasure-seeking creatures. That is true, but that is only the partial truth. Actually, we are not simply seeking pleasure. We are seeking meaningful pleasure.
Right.
We want pleasure that means something. We all, who doesn't like to laugh?
Yeah.
We can watch a comedy show and laugh. But if somebody tells you that from tomorrow onwards, we have no social obligations, no financial obligations, no health obligations, just sit down from morning to night and watch comedy shows for the rest of your life. You'll get bored after some time. Sometimes it's enjoyable. Because just laughing in comedy shows, it's meaningless.
Yeah.
So
True.
one of the great mistakes that has happened in modern society is that we have put the search of pleasure above the search for meaning.
Yes.
So when that happens, like entertainment is good enough. Everybody needs entertainment. Shastra yukta ahara viharas. We need entertainment. But then instead of entertainment being a break from life, for many people, life is a break from entertainment.
Right. True.
So I think that's the every day when I look up, oh, this TV series is what I look forward to. I have to go to a job, I have to do this, I have to do that. All that is secondary to take care of my family. So that's the Gita helps us to find a higher meaning and purpose in life. And when that happens, then it is easier to bear the distress. So see, somebody goes to the Himalayas because they want to have the darshan of Badrikashram. They have to go to Badrikashram. Now that is the purpose that they have, and they're doing that purpose is meaningful for them. And because of that meaning and purpose, the cold, the inconvenience, all that will become bearable. Now, traditionally, across history, across the world, there has been some kind of spiritual foundation, and spirituality give people a higher meaning and purpose. Now, when spirituality has largely receded, I would say, at least in terms of the religious structures that society had, that has receded significantly in the background. So now there are two options for people. One is just accept that life is meaningless and live that way, or create your own meaningful life.
Right.
Now, people can try to create their own meaning. But the problem is, at the back of the mind, there's always that haunting fear. Is this all meaningless? Is it really worth it?
Mm.
And that's why now some people, so that's how, see, in Rajoguna, we try to create our own meaning in life. Oh, I'll get wealth, I'll get power, I'll get position. This will make me happy. So we have our conceptions of what will make us happy.
Yeah.
And what we have, Rajoguna is the idea that I'll create my own meaning. Tamoguna is there is no meaning at all in life. So what is the use of doing anything? So I
So,
was just in
sorry, I was just going to
Tamoguna.
come to this extending on this point. I was just going to ask you that for someone who is in that despair, how can spiritual practices like prayer, meditation, chanting, actually help him?
Okay. See, just let me complete that answer. What I was saying is that, so when somebody has a search for meaning and then that meaning is lost, you go from Rajoguna to Tamoguna. You may be able to find the meaning again, but if you feel you can't find the meaning again, that's where a person goes into great depression. It may go down to the level of ending one's life also.
Yeah.
So there is artha. Artha can mean wealth, but artha also means meaning. So everybody has to have some artha for their life. If
So
there
in the
is no
dharma, artha,
artha,
kama, moksha, the artha also means this, you're saying?
yeah, artha basically means that we have a sense of meaning and there's something of value in our life. So in that now there is a hierarchy of arthas, and then there is Bhagavan who is the Paramartha.
Right.
So even if somebody doesn't, there is Paramartha is not there, at least some level of artha has to be there. So if there is no artha, then that is the place where a person starts feeling what is the point of living. See, distress is going to come for everyone in life. But if I have a meaning and purpose, if I have some artha for my life, then that makes the distress bearable. But if there is no meaning and purpose, then the distress becomes unbearable.
Right.
So that's why it's I think the whole one of the key points of the Bhagavad Gita is to help Arjuna find artha over there. Arjuna says that what is the point of being here at all? Why should I be here? So we all can feel like that at times. So the prayer and meditation are definitely important. See, what the two ways prayer and meditation, what they do is, if we can do them well, we can connect with something bigger than ourselves. That a person who can actually pray or meditate, they experience connection with something beyond oneself. And there are my personal concerns and problems, which can be endless.
Right.
But the fact that I am connected with something bigger than myself, and within that higher connection, there can be a higher meaning, a higher purpose for my life. That, like the way we put it is that if you consider the bhakti wisdom, is that what we have is Krishna's gift to us. What we do with what we have is our gift to Krishna. So now that way, that everyone, some people may say, I don't have any gift at all. Well, okay, we feel we don't have any gift because we are looking through society's eyes. Oh, this gift is valued, this gift is glamorized. But all of us have some things. And to the extent we can find something that enables us to do, to pursue some purpose, to pursue some artha in life, then the grip of tamas, which eventually leads to depression and suicide, that is something which can be countered.
So, Prabhuji, in your experience, Can you share any one person you've come across, who's actually found such kind of hope through this faith of spirituality and the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to actually move over, or who was someone who was down, depressed, suicidal, who's actually
Definitely.
found that hope and
Yeah.
support?
Just day before yesterday, I came from Australia, New Zealand. I was there for about 1.5 months.
Right.
So I met a number of people over there. But there's one person who is now practicing bhakti, and he told me that before he came to bhakti, he had attempted 18 times, not twice,
He had
18 times.
attempted. He had attempted
Attempted
suicide
suicide 18 times.
18 times.
18 times.
Wow. Okay.
And he said that number of people in his family had committed suicide. Now somehow each time he attempted, something went off, something didn't happen, and he didn't commit suicide. So the 18th time it didn't happen for him, he said that maybe there is something in life. Something is there. So he started exploring. And he said, okay, this is the 18th time. So is there something special about the number 18? And then he looked on online, and he found in the Indian traditions, 18 is considered a very significant number. So that actually from that 18, he read about the Bhagavad Gita. He wanted to read a Bhagavad Gita. That's how he became introduced to devotees.
Wow.
So it's interesting. 18 number can get a person to Krishna to come like that. But the
Wow.
key point he said is that when he came, what he found relevant in the Gita was this whole sense that Arjuna, he said, what is the point of living? Arjuna, that was the situation of Arjuna. What is the point of being here? What is the point of doing anything? And for him, especially in the Western world is materially quite progressive, but mentally there's a lot of futility. Futility is that psychological level, everybody's trying to find some meaning in life. But the Gita, what he felt was that this is a God, who is not instructing as much as talking.
Yes.
And he said that Krishna is not a God who is up there. Krishna is a God, he's here with me. He said the thing that he loved about the Gita was the idea that God is inside us and God is with us and God is for us. And that inspired him. And now he is a practicing devotee, he's a professional also. He's a crime detective, basically. That was his profession.
Oh.
And basically what happened for him was that lots of times he saw such terrible crimes that created a lot of negativity within him.
Right.
But now he feels that although there's a lot of darkness in the world, that through his understanding of Krishna consciousness, he feel that he can at least counter some pockets of darkness in the world.
So,
And
sorry.
then you go ahead, please. That's
No,
one
I was just
example.
going to ask you, in fact, from a scripture's perspective, is suicide a sin? And if at all it is, then how can we reframe this and tell someone with a little compassion at least? Whether what do the scriptures say in terms of it's a sin? Yes, no, how grave?
Yeah. So in general, the Mahabharata says that we can look at an action from three broad parameters. What is the action? The content of the action, that is. Why did you do the action? That's the intent. And then the effect. So what are the consequence of the action?
Yes.
So intent, content, and consequence. So three factors are to be considered when we do an activity. Now, the point that is often emphasized when you talk from the Vedic perspective is that it is considered sinful because the body is not ours to destroy, and it is a gift given to us. And when we destroy the body, then the one consequence of that is that So the soul lives inside this body, which is like a home. And if somebody destroys their own home, then they become homeless.
Yes.
So the soul that is homeless is called a ghost. So it is said that ghosts are basically disembodied beings. They don't have a body. So it is said that one consequence of committing suicide is that one may, because one has destroyed one's body, they will not have a body for a particular period of time till they are meant to get the next body. So if say we are body like a rented house, suppose we are supposed to be here for 60 years or 80 years, and somebody ends their life at the age of 30 or 40, then for the next 20, 30 years, whatever period is there, they will not get a body. So that is one point of view which is prominently talked about. Now, having said that, that is not the only aspect. So we are looking at what is the act? The act is you are destroying the body. What is the effect of that? That you won't have a body. You'll be disembodied state.
You'll be a ghost, yes.
But then, yeah, now, but we look at the intent. Why is somebody doing that? So just telling somebody that something is sinful and so don't do it, is that something which is going to address their issue? So the point of sharing scriptural wisdom is to be of service to the other person. Krishna says, Anudvega karam vakyam satyam priyahitam chet. So we should speak in a way that is non-agitating. And of course, you have to speak the truth. But non-agitating means which part of the truth is important or beneficial for the person at that particular time. So in general, if a person has some level of faith in Shastra, has some understanding of Atma, has some understanding of future life, then the idea that this will lead to this kind of consequence can act as a deterrent. But if somebody doesn't have that faith, doesn't have that particular worldview at all, then all that it seems to be like a scare tactic. That this is just a tactic to create fear in people. And more importantly, why is the person coming to the level of ending their life? So rather than saying that this is sinful and don't do it, if we really want to address the problem at the root, we have to consider why has a person come to the place where they're considering something like this. So if without addressing that fundamental issue, we will simply trying to guilt people into doing something or not doing something. And that doesn't last for very long. Yeah, go ahead.
So, Prabhuji, if someone comes to this stage, all right, but then how can we help them, giving them some divine purpose so that they overcome such suicidal thoughts? If they've already reached the stage, but if we have to help them, how would we give them that divine purpose, so that they can overcome all these negative and thoughts which really drag you down and make you do something so ghastly?
Yeah. See, it's an interesting thing. In the Vedic tradition, Artha, where does it come from? It comes from Dharma. Dharma leads to Artha. Now, one way of understanding is a very karma conscious, you do religious worship and wealth will come in your life. That's one way of understanding it. But if we consider Artha to be meaning, that how does meaning or value come in your life? Now, one understanding of dharma, sometimes it's translated as duty or religion or nature. One understanding is responsibility. So one of the best, most accessible sources of meaning for a person is responsibility.
True.
That now responsibility means that I have 10 problems in my life right now. Out of those 8 problems, I have no responsibility. That means I cannot do anything about those problems. Yeah. There's no ability to respond because I'm completely trapped. Everybody gets into that kind of situation. But do I have the responsibility in the remaining 2 areas? I have. So if we can help that person to find, okay, this thing is not working out, this area is meaningless, this is frustrating. But is there some area in your life where you have responsibility, where you have the ability to respond and do something of value? in general, small sense of that I can do something of value. A small
Contribution.
sense of that can make a big difference. And that's why this whole idea that rather than thinking, when Gita says karmanyevadhikaraste, the whole idea is that don't focus on what life is giving you, focus on what you are giving life. So that, oh, this didn't work out, that didn't work out, that didn't work out. Yes, we want things to work out in life. But in many ways, our sense of meaning and fulfillment comes by the extent to we take responsibility for the situations we are in and for the talents that we have been given, for the abilities that we have. So even it is a small ability. So in general, we all want to do something wonderful. We all kuch kar dikhana hai.
Correct.
And now, yes, maybe we will be able to do something wonderful. But just because we can't do something wonderful doesn't mean that we can't do something worthwhile. So, in general, most of life, the Gita says, Shanai, Shanai, Rupar, gradually, step by step. So, most of life, we are doing worthwhile things. If we keep doing worthwhile things, at one time, something wonderful will happen. So, most growth in life is evolutionary before it becomes revolutionary.
Wow, beautifully put.
So,
Thank you. Thank you.
that's why the key point is that don't devalue small steps. Don't devalue small sources of meaning. In the Gita, the 10th chapter, Krishna talks about Vibhuti Yoga. He's talking about the beautiful,
Opulences.
wonderful things in the world.
Yes.
So the idea is that there are small, the world may seem very complex and distressful and meaningless, but we can create some small pockets of meaning, some pockets of beauty, some pockets of creativity, pockets of sanctity. And when we create those, that brings some artha for our life. And to the extent we do that, we cannot have necessarily every area of our life as meaningful. But just because all areas of our life are not meaningful does not mean all of our areas of our life are meaningless. So that's how Krishna says Raga Dvesha Vimukta, that don't be so attached or averse. That freedom from attachment and aversion creates a sense of open-mindedness. Okay, if this is not working, this will work. This is not working, this will work. Just like the Ganga, it is moving towards the ocean. If it can't move this way, it moves this way. Can't move this way, it moves this way. Find some way and keeps moving toward the ocean. So the example, the point is that like that, each one of us can find a way to keep moving forward. So to the extent we can find dharma, we can do dharma, take responsibility, we will find Artha. So the way to find meaning is to see in which area do I have the ability to respond right now.
Perfect. So how, Prabhuji, can the spiritual communities actually support vulnerable people?
Yes. See, broadly, okay, let me talk about it from a broader religious perspective. If you consider that there is a temple-centered model, by temple I mean a typical Hindu temple, and a church-centered model. So what happens quite often in the temple-centered model, the idea is that the community is meant for the temple. That means the community comes and does puja in the temple, the community gives donation to the temple. And the typical Indian Hindu temple, the pujari is not really concerned about the emotional health or the personal challenges of people's lives. Now, it was not like that traditionally. Traditionally, the Brahmanas and the priests were there, they were very well connected with the community. But I'm talking about currently how it was, how it is right. So when I'm using the church center, it doesn't mean only churches like that. It's just the nomenclature that is there. Quite often in a church, there is not so much, they don't have deity worship. So the temple people are, the church people are not that busy. So the church is concerned with the well-being of the community. So the church will go out and if there's a death in the family, if there's any kind of family crisis, the priest will go and visit and talk and counsel. That's a major part of the priest's work over there. So now the way Srila Prabhupada started Krishna consciousness movement, it is not like a typical Hindu temple.
Right. Absolutely.
Prabhupada wanted it to be a place where there would be a community. Prabhupada said one of the purposes of ISKCON is to bring all people closer to each other and closer to Krishna, the prime entity. So closer to each other is also very important. So the idea is that the temple at one level provides a space, a sacred space where people can feel peaceful, people can gain some spiritual connection and gain some perspective. So the temple offers a physical space. That's one level. The second level is that from the temple, there are individuals who go out and they share spiritual wisdom.
Right.
And that helps people find higher purpose in life. The third level is it's not just spiritual wisdom, but beyond that, they go and offer personal support. So we have some kind of counseling system, mentorship system. Now, how much can we do this? That nowadays mental health problems are becoming increasingly high. But overall, if the religious community that is there, it focuses a lot on high religious standards. You should not be doing this, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. Then that actually creates a further sense of emotional burden. And then people don't feel supported and sheltered over there. So sometimes people in such religious communities start feeling more lonely than outside secular people also. But if the religious community is more accepting, more understanding, less judgmental, then when people face challenges, then it is very much possible that they feel very supported in the community. And many times people get attracted to spiritual communities, religious communities, primarily because of the support that they experience. That's why that also becomes inspired. That's all inspires them to become spiritual also.
Right. So, as a family, when there is some crisis like this, what spiritual practices would you recommend, that'll help in such situations?
Certainly, doing spiritual practices together itself. A family that prays together stays together.
Stays together.
We
Yes.
say that, in general, how do we develop close bonds? One of the basic things is we spend time. But we spend time not arguing with each other, quarreling with each other, spend time doing something which is of shared value to us. So now sometimes we may do a lot of rituals together, like praying, worshipping, arti, and that is good. But if there can be some level of scriptural study, and not just scriptural study, but scripture-based discussion.
Discussion. Okay.
Then that what happens is scripture can become a foundation or a launching pad for further exploration. Then
Maybe that's why our grandparents always had Ramayana, and Mahabharata and all these stories always being told to us. But somewhere that tradition, that thing is lost now.
Exactly, yes. But to the extent that can be done, I think based on scripture, we can find and share insights that can address our particular concerns, our emotional needs. So our scriptural discussions should not be building walls between us. They should be breaking walls between us. So sometimes if that is happening, then actually it becomes this very great sense of closeness that comes together. And everybody will have emotional challenges. That's just the way life is. Life is difficult. But then see, if I am here and my mind is here, and then I am looking at everyone through my mind. So if if I had a better experience with people, and somebody comes and that person is very nice to me now. Now my mind will say, why is this person being so nice? That maybe this person wants something from me. So normally we look at people through our mind. We look at people through our mind. But our mind is often telling us stories to ourselves about life to us, about our own life to us. And that story can be negative.
Yeah.
So the point of close relationship is that we need to have at least one person in our life. We don't look at them through our mind. We look at our mind through them. So when we say close friendship, close relationship, close association, what does this mean? Don't just look with your mind, look at your mind. Look at your mind means that we have somebody who helps us. Okay, this is how my mind is thinking. My mind is telling me, oh, the world is a terrible place. Maybe life is just worthless. Now, when somebody else is there who is close enough to me, that person gives me an alternative understanding, an alternative vision. Now, when will I accept it? When that person, when the mind is not blocking me.
Yeah.
So the close relationships, at least one or two, where we can share our heart's concerns. Guhyam Akhyati Pruchyati is not just that principle in Deshamrut. It's not just about discussing esoteric pastimes of Krishna.
No, that's
It's
exactly
also
what
about
Mataji was also mentioning. You need that one person. You need someone to really share to. All right. So now let's just move on to the segment where we take an integrated approach and trying to understand how clinically and spiritually we can collaborate to overcome or find solutions to this major issue. So how do you think both of y'all, doctors and spiritual leaders could actually collaborate? How do you all think y'all can really collaborate and help on a sensitive topic like suicide?
Prabhuji, I would like you to start.
well, maybe I'll start with a less complimentary metaphor, and then you can offer another metaphor. I feel that when there's person is sick and is in pain, we need pain medication and we need curative medication. So the medical community for mental health can offer more of the pain medication. There is that immediate relief that is required that can be provided. But eventually, the curative medication is finding a sense of higher meaning and purpose. And without adopting a spiritual worldview, that is difficult. It's not impossible, but it is relatively easier if we have a bigger spiritual worldview. So in that sense, both are required. When I'm saying pain medication, I'm not devaluing it. That in some diseases, in some cases of medical health problems, because of the pain, the body is so frozen that you cannot, body is so paralyzed or frozen that you cannot even take curative medicine at that time. So in that sense, pain medication is also necessary. Sometimes it may be the only thing necessary at that particular time. So in that sense, if there's a segue where there are critical cases are there, at that particular time, some kind of professional intervention is necessary. But eventually, if somebody, for example, is only taking medicines and that is their only way to deal with depression, then they are going to become addicted to those medicines. And then that will create its own kind of problems. So if medical intervention is one step in a multi-pronged approach, and the other prongs of that approach will come from, many of them will come from a spiritual worldview and a spiritual community, then I think that's the way things can be integrated.
Your take, Mataji?
Okay, so most of the things I agree to what Prabhuji is saying, that initially it can see, because for me, the plain, like he says, the medical intervention is for symptomatic relief, right? So we can give symptomatic relief. That's the clinical part.
Mhm.
The spiritual part is giving hope. I mentioned
Yes.
last time also this, like, that when I have hope, like when I have something to look forward to, as I said, if not nothing, at least I know that I have to get up and chant my rounds in the morning. I may not have any other service, in the entire world, in the entire universe. And the only thing that I know that, okay, I have to wake up and I chant my rounds. I have to read one chapter of Bhagavad Gita and I have to offer flowers to my deities. So even, if I'm grateful for that, like, and hopeful that, okay, in future things will turn better. I will have, I will develop more taste for chanting, or I'll get more services. So these are the things, as you keep associating, with people, with devotees, the more you associate, the more, services are generated. You feel more, like Prabhuji used the word sense of belonging last time, when you have that sense of belonging and you feel, okay, this is my home. Like recently, we had gone for a program and there was a senior devotee who was talking about their experiences, and they said that we always felt that Radha Gopinath is our home. We could come there for anything. I'm upset, I can go and talk to this buddy. Like I'm feeling hungry, I can go and have prasad. I want to do something for my children, there is Gopal's Fun School. If I want my father and mother to be part of the community, Varishta Vaishnav, so you name it. And actually, Radha Gopinath and other, probably our other communities have everything which is necessary for generating that hope in your life. Like I
So,
said earlier, where there, if God helps, only if you want to help yourself. If you want to be stuck to medications and just, see, therapy also will help up to a certain. We don't give therapy lifelong. It is just
you
equipping
mentioned
the
that last time too.
person. Yeah, it's just equipping a person with a certain skill sets to be able to manage his emotions. And then we do maintenance once in a month, twice in a month, depending on the need of the client. Therapy is not something which is going to last lifelong, but spirituality is.
Right.
At the same time, there are the other side of the coin is that I am meeting so many from the devotee community who are highly spiritual, who have been extremely, I would say, dedicated, waking up in the morning, doing the Mangalarti, chanting their rounds sincerely, and doing their services, but still facing mental health problems because of some traumatic past.
Fast.
So it has to be addressed. Like you cannot say, okay, chanting will solve all your problems, because I've heard people say that. You chant your
Right.
rounds and your family problems will get sorted out. You will stop fighting with your wife. Your child will start behaving nicely. It does not happen automatically. Where is your effort in that?
True.
Krishna sees your effort in everything, right?
So
Yeah,
any
can I add just something,
Yes,
Mataji,
yes,
over
yes,
here?
Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
This very important conception that is there. See, there are three levels of reality. There's the body, the mind, and the soul. Now, in Western philosophical intellectual circles, they equate the soul and the mind, and they say there's a body and mind over matter. So basically, they say the soul and the mind are the same. Now, in our tradition, we don't philosophically do that. You understand, soul and mind are different. But we do the same thing by saying that whatever will work for the soul will also work for the mind. But just as the soul and the body are different, the soul and the mind is also different. Now, interestingly, the Yoga Sutra commentary is described that just like we have the outer ear, middle ear, inner ear, there's the outer mind, the middle mind, and the inner mind. So the outer mind is affected by physicals. It's affected by the food that we eat. It's affected by the psychedelic drugs, for example. So antidepressants, they can work at the level of the outer mind. The outer mind is connected more with the body. The middle mind is connected more with the buddhi. And that's where talk therapy works. It could be specific therapy where talking with people, or it's hearing some motivational talks, learning some wisdom. And then the inner mind, that is affected by spirituality. That is affected by purification. That is affected by developing love for Krishna. So there are different layers to the mind also. And not every aspect of the mind will be dealt with only by spirituality. I think everybody now, at least most senior leaders who have been in the movement for at least 20, 30, 40 years that I have talked with, everybody's acknowledging that mental health requires attention. Now we can go to the other extreme and we can pathologize routine life's challenges also.
Right.
So that we want to avoid both extremes. So, but definitely the idea that by when you just chant Hare Krishna and your mental health problems will go away, I would say that it is a reductionistic understanding of what Krishna consciousness is.
Very true.
Is it that Krishna is manifesting only as the holy name? No, our understanding is that Krishna is all pervading. So if there is a sense of pain or emptiness in my life, if there's a tension in a relationship, No, Krishna could be speaking something to me through that. But instead of listening to what Krishna is telling me through that particular emptiness or that particular tension, I start chanting Hare Krishna. So technically, this is called a spiritual bypassing. Basically, we use God to stay away from God. We use God to silence God. God is speaking to me in one direction, in one way, but instead of listening to what God is telling me through that, I just invoke another form of God, which is more convenient or conventional for me. And then I blind myself, I deaden, deafen myself to the voice of God, which will be coming from another way. So if we understand that Krishna is Sarva Vyapi, Krishna is all pervading, and there are many ways in which Krishna can be communicating something to us. So rather than thinking of say dealing with family relationships or some traumatic issues from the childhood, thinking of them as simply mundane, that is something the body mind machine is all integrated right now. It's a part of who we are, and it can also be included if our life is meant to serve Krishna, and whatever is required for the service of Krishna, taking care of that is not outside the ambit of Krishna consciousness.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Any
Thank you for-
stories, Prabhuji? Wonderful insight. But any stories that you all would like to share, where actually spirituality and both therapy have gone hand in hand and you all have experienced that personally? Like Mataji and Prabhuji, both of you all
I
had
have
that experience.
let Prabhuji, because I deal with many people from the devotee community. So I'm sure Prabhuji, if he has, Prabhuji has handled the spiritual aspect. I have handled people who've come from the spiritual background, a very strong spiritual background for therapeutic purpose, for clinical purpose. And they have left with a sense of satisfaction and gone back to their spiritual life peacefully, because they have undergone the
So the
process
solution you
of
gave them was a blend of
blend.
spirituality and therapy.
Depending, Prabhuji, blend. See, when they come to me, they already come from a very strong spiritual background.
Could you just share quickly like one or two things and then Prabhuji's
Okay,
insights on
so
something that he experienced?
there was this person in Saffron. I mean, there are multiple. I don't want to get into that. Who had come for very strong spiritual background, come for some traumatic childhood
Experiences,
experiences. Yes.
which
So
still bother them.
yes, which
They
still
can't get it
bothers.
out.
Yes. Or there are certain things which they had, like in college, I had this triggered a lot during the pandemic. Okay. Like there were many of them who started getting into um, a variety of, social media stuff and getting distracted because, it was, I mean, they didn't know what to do at that point in time. We're talking about some people who are very strongly spiritual. And when we discussed or when they came to me, it was like, okay, I was attracted to this person before I came into Krishna consciousness. Now it is 40 years down the line, and sometimes when I go to my hometown, I meet with this person. He or she is happily married, and still, whenever they talk to me, I feel that attraction. So where is this coming from? It also comes from a sense of suppression. You have been
Oh.
suppressing a lot of your natural desires for a very long time, you know. So, and
Then
those
what
have
do you
not been
suggest?
channelized. Those have not been channelized. See, you may be very strongly spiritual, but
Hmm.
again, I said, at the end of the day, you are a human being.
Yeah.
So there will be certain desires which will come suddenly, you not know, you won't realize. And then you don't know how to handle because it's new to you. So many new things happen during, even I was surprised.
So solution,
Why not?
Mataji,
Yeah.
interesting question. What's the solution?
I can't share these things
No, no,
on.
not individually, but just
Yeah.
generally as what a
See,
solution.
basically, what is helping them see, like Prabhuji said, helping. It's basically helping them see what can be done in situation rather than what is happening to them. So, focusing on what I cannot do.
Because this will also
Certain
lead to
things.
guilt. Why I'm asking is because
Exactly.
this leads to
Exactly.
guilt. And when
Exactly.
it leads to guilt, you get into the loop that, oh my God, am I not doing my things right? What have
Exactly.
I done wrong in spirituality? Where have I gone wrong? And
Exactly.
so
So
that's why
instead
I'm
of
asking a
mulling
solution.
on that, accepting that, okay, this is one part which has happened in my life. All right, I accept this. Again, I said validation of feelings. I accept whatever is happening to me. I can't do anything right now, but what can I do in the future that will make me more stronger in Krishna consciousness? That is how do I make my foundations more stronger? I've been here for so many years, but I'm still getting confused. But so what is it that is going wrong? What needs to be corrected? So showing them that path, and also then connecting them to a senior person in the congregation, obviously in the temple, that person who can guide and give them some support through the difficult times. And then working on the guilt, like as you said in the therapy, working on guilt, the shame. How can something like this come to my thought? And at that point in time, normalizing it is very important. Telling them that it's okay.
And it's okay. It's
Yeah,
not a
it's
problem.
okay. It's okay. It's not
You're
a
human. You're human.
You're a
Yeah, you're
human
just on the.
being.
Yeah.
It just came to you. You are acknowledging it. Only thing is that you need to accept it and move on. You don't need to hang on to it.
Right.
Moment you hang on to it, that's when the problem comes. When you
Right.
accept it and move on to what are the things that I can do to strengthen my Krishna consciousness, then it becomes a very positive outlook towards the spiritual aspect.
Okay, we have about 4 minutes left. So I would quickly like to take Prabhuji's perspective on this, some words, and then probably just take one question from the audience, and then we will have to wrap up. Prabhuji, your quick view on this.
So two things. It is, I just in Australia, New Zealand, I did a series there on emotionally healthy spirituality. So the idea is that our spiritual practices, they ultimately provide the emotional health. But right now, when we're practicing also, just as we'll make sure that we are physically healthy.
Right.
If I have a slip disc, I'm not going to say that I will lift a heavy book bag and go for book distribution.
Right.
Just as we take care of physical health, we have to take care of emotional health also.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
And within that, one of the points is in the 14th chapter, Krishna says that that our inner world, our mind is basically like a city. Like in a city, many people will come and many people will go. Some people we like, some people we don't like.
Right.
And just because they have come doesn't mean we have to talk with them.
Right.
It's a city, whole city. So Krishna says that sometimes some emotions will come, accept that they are there, and they'll go on their own. Don't resent them when they come, and don't crave for them after they go. So that kind of becoming an observer rather than engaging with everything. Let's observe, okay, this comes, this goes. So spirituality is understanding that we are more than human.
Sorry,
That
we
is,
are
we are
more
not
than?
more than human beings. We are spiritual beings.
All right. Right.
But it doesn't mean we are not human beings. It's like we may say ultimately we are not the body. But right now, we are more than the body. I am the body. Body injury caused me a problem. So our humanity is not, we are not meant to dehumanize ourselves in the name of spirituality. If that happens, it becomes a serious problem. So once we accept the humanity, I think these kind of problems, yeah, the emotions come, they stay for some time, some desires come. They are not a big issue unless we get either raga or dvesha. Right? Yeah, it's going to come. It comes, it goes. If I become averse to it, I'm also thinking about a lot about it. If I'm attached to it, also I'm thinking about it. Just let it just pass. Prakasham cha pravrittim cha moham eva cha pandava na dveshti sampravrittani na nivuttani kaangshati, Krishna says. Don't know aversion, no attachment, just let it pass by.
Okay, one last question before we wrap up, Prabhuji. Sorry, since we have less time, is one question we'll take from the audience, wherein if someone is already struggling from mental health, do you think moving closer to the community will help? Or is it okay if that person is getting online association, of spirituality and is in touch with devotees? What do you think?
I would say that definitely having more personal association with people does help for most people. See,
just online is not enough.
So yeah, because see, different people are stimulated and feel connected by different things. Some people are connected more at the level of ideas. Some they're more intellectual. Some people are connected more at the level of culture. Some people are connected that you see some puja, you some aarti going on. This is where I belong. Some people are connected more at the social level. You want to sit and talk with people. So most of us, I would say, being in a place where we can have access to people, that is better. Now, how much effort is required, that we'll have to see. And each individual, some people may be able to, the point is physical proximity can be an aid to emotional proximity. Now, if somebody can have emotional proximity without that, that's a different thing.
But generally, it
But in
doesn't work. So
general,
it's always better to be
yeah,
in touch. As they say, association always helps.
definitely.
All right. So thank you, both of y'all, for removing your valuable time and sharing these wonderful, wonderful insights. We took this topic last month when 10th September we were celebrating, the International Anti-Suicide Day, wherein it was not enough. That's why we took this topic up again. And thank you very much for giving in your wonderful insights. So all in all, we can close by understanding that the message that stands out is that when you're struggling with these emotions, you're not alone, right? Being human and undergoing all of this is normal, but suicide prevention, it just requires awareness, it requires that compassion, and it requires a lot of collaboration. So if you or anybody is actually struggling, we just need to reach out. There are professionals, there are communities, there are loved ones, there are spiritual guides who are available. Hope is always there. As the Bhagavad Gita also says, you may become helpless, but never become hopeless. So let's together try and create and share this hope so that we can just help and save more lives. On that note, thank you so very much, all of you all, for joining in this afternoon. And once again, thank you to both our wonderful speakers for contributing and giving in their valuable suggestions. Thank you so very much. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.